Hi everyone, my name is Syed Nisar Hassan Naqvi. I'm a 19-year-old front-end web developer from Lahore, Pakistan. And Nisar.dev is my little corner of the internet where I share my work and also do writings sometimes on the blog. In the next 10 minutes or so, I'll be talking to you about frictionless open source contributions. So let's get into it. So I would like to start off by telling what open source software is. So open source software is software with source code that anyone can view, change, and enhance. So, the opposite of open source is proprietary software. You can't view the source code for proprietary software, neither can you make modifications. And depending on the license for uh, any open source project, you can have the right to study, change, and distribute the software to anyone. Like you can sell open source software or even make money off of them. So popular open source projects are Linux, WordPress, VLC, and MySQL, and most modern programming languages out there are also open source. Next up, I would like to talk about what makes open source stand out. So open source projects are created and maintained by an army of developers from highly competing tech companies to uh, thousands of unpaid volunteers from all over the world. And they work collaboratively to make open source better at a very high speed. And when it comes to open source, it's kind of like a buffet. So let's say you're creating a software and you can like pick and choose, I want this and this and this open source software, and then you can smash together great products. And next up, I would like to talk about why you should consider contributing to open source. So the first and most important reason is that people contributing to open source has made the world better. And also open source contributions can help you enhance your skills. They can also serve as a portfolio, and they can help you greatly if you're someone who's looking for a job. And next up, we'll look at how contributing to open source can be intimidating. So to prove this, I would like to show you a real world example. So I have this link already opened in my browser. Here it is. So let's say you want to contribute to Free Code Camp. It's a great free learning resource. It's open source. Let's say you want to contribute to it. And before you can get started, you have to set the project up locally. So you have to start off by forking it. And then you have to prepare the development environment. You have to make sure that you have Git installed. Then you have to make sure that you have a code editor or an IDE installed. And then you have to clone the free code camp repo. By the way, this is a huge project, and cloning can take time if you are on a slow internet connection. And then you have to install the prerequisites, and you have to make sure that the versions are correct. Then you have to set up the environment variables. I think these are, and then you have to set up the database. This is a lot of stuff, and it can take a lot of time and effort. And this can be very painful, especially if you are someone who is just starting out. So let's imagine for a moment that we have something that does all of the setup for us in just a single click. Like we click a button and it launches a workspace with the project cloned and all the dependencies pre-installed, and the server is running and everything is set up, and we can just go ahead and start coding. Well, we are in luck that Gitpod exists. So you can find it out at gitpod.io. So it's an online IDE for GitHub and GitLab projects that launches ready to code dev environments for your projects. So what it will do in our case is that it will do everything with just a single click. So let's try it out. So there are multiple ways we can get started. So one is prefixing the repo URL with gitpod.io and then pound sign. But I would like to show you another cool resource. Why the click is not working? Oh, it worked. So contributor tab is a site that lists popular open source projects, and setup for all these projects is automated with Gitpod. So you can click this button for any of this project and it will launch a workspace with like everything automated. So let's do this for FreeCodeCamp. So I already did this ahead of time. So it will hopefully take a minute or so to start a workspace. So with a single click, like it will launch a workspace like this. So as you can see, here we have the repo already cloned and the server is running. All the things related to the database are done. The client is running and here is the preview for it. And now we can start coding here and make whatever changes our contributions need. So just as an example, to show you how we can make a PR from within the IDE, would make a commit. By the way, this isn't useful and real. It's just to show you how you can use the IDE to make a pull request. So I'll say change a line, and then I'll commit it. And now I can, after pushing, make a PR from within the IDE. So let's recap what we did. I'll go back to the slides. So in this talk, we started off by looking at what open source is. Like it's a kind of software where we can view the source code, change it, or enhance it to our liking. And then we looked at how the army of contributors make it stand out. And then we looked at some reasons why you should consider contributing to open source. And then we looked at a real world example of how contributing to open source can be intimidating. And then we looked at Gitpod and how it simplifies code contributions. And then we looked at contributor tab, and then we did a demo, and then where we looked at how we can make a PR using Gitpod. So if you have any questions related to what I talked here, then feel free to reach out to me at nisarhassan12 on Twitter. I would love to help and answer your questions. And that's it. Thank you for your time.